Alright guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel at the Regal Gentleman Studio. Today we've got Ciaran in the chair. How are you, mate?
I'm good.
You good? You're good. So what are we doing? What's the plan?
I just wanted to take some length off it and add some more texture into it because I feel like it's just really heavy and it just falls straight down.
Okay, no worries, yeah. And what are you looking to try and do? So you're looking to keep it long? Is that what you're looking to do? Keep it a longer shape?
Longish, but I do want to take a good bit off. And I was thinking about maybe getting sort of a fringe, but not really, like a wispy sort of fringe, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah, of course, yeah. So we're in it more forwards then, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, of course, yeah, that'll be fine.
But I don't want it to be really heavy, I still want it to be quite light.
Quite light. Okay, that's fine, yeah. Well, what are we going to do with the back and sides first? What are you thinking?
I want them to be this makes sense of if there was a little fringe here and it just went around and down. Not really like a mullet, but kind of just really wispy everywhere and thin down.
Okay. So you still want to keep some length in the back and sides though? Yeah. Okay.
I kind of flicks up at the back and stuff like that.
You like the way it flicks up at the back? Okay, no worries. Right, for yours to flick up at the back, you need to leave it probably what it is now, to be fair, at the bottom. Because your neckline goes across, it kind of goes across on the right hand side to the left, and then it kind of splits on the left hand side. To get that wispiness down the bottom here, you kind of have to leave pretty much what there already is. So are you looking for a mullet style then? Is that the kind of look you're trying to achieve? Do you want it off the ears and still longer on the neck?
No, I do want to keep, I don't want a mullet.
You don't?
I've had one before and I'm just over it.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Because the only thing is when you're leaving the length at the back, we'd have to kind of leave some over the ears as well. Otherwise it would look like a mullet, you know? Because you want that kind of, the flicks at the bottom. You can only have them I wouldn't take them any shorter. You can take obviously all the rest of this shorter through here, but to keep this flicks, you're gonna have to keep the length that it is, just because the way the neckline is, unfortunately. So back and sides, if we take it, I don't know, we could probably lose about half the length through the sides as well, you know, maybe about half the length I reckon you can get away with. But as long as you keep it just soft around the edges, the back will blend in. It's if you take the edges off the ears, that's when it'll look like a mullet, all right? So we cut it short enough so it still sits on the ears, that'd be great. And then how do you want to wear the top? Do you want to wear it kind of coming all forwards and just sitting very, again, very feathered on the top? Do you want it quite messy forwards? Yeah. Okay, Sam. And the thing is with your hairline, because your hairline is so low, your fringe isn't going to be that long, so we have to make sure we match it up everywhere else as well. So my idea is that if we had what was almost like it was all overgrown, do you know what I mean, in terms of length and look. So again, the fringe is sitting just on the eyebrows, but like you said, it's very, very feathered, very wispy. We'll thin it out loads, but I'm just thinking texture all over. Yeah. And as though you know, with the edges being longer down here in the sides, I think as though it's a grown out haircut, but with loads of texture. Yeah. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, that's really what I want. Yeah, all right, cool. All right, well, let's get you started then, buddy. Right guys, so to start, I'm gonna work on a horseshoe section to start with, only because I want to focus on the back and sides first. Now the top is going to be taken quite short, so we need to match it into whatever length it's going to be at the front, because I want it to be like we just discussed then, that kind of overgrown, really heavy textured, just like a sort of, a grown out short back and sides almost, but with loads of texture and stuff like that. That'll work really, really well. And like we say, Ciaran's got lovely hair, really, really good hair. That's super straight, really thick. You know, he doesn't look like he's limited to many things really. And with the crown as well, his crown's dead center. He hasn't got a double crown, which is good. So, you know, it allows us to be quite flexible with how we wear our hair when your crown's in the center, because you can wear it over to one side, you can wear it both ways, and you can wear it forwards quite well as well. But what I want to do is I want to create a very nice, very heavily textured finish to this haircut and try and make it look overgrown because again, with the wispy bits at the bottom of the neck and things like that, I really want to take advantage of the quality of the hair that I'm working with, because it really is good hair. It's good texture, you know, we can do this justice, I think. But again, just making sure we work with the neckline, because it does go in one way. So again, we have to be really careful how short we go on that, but I want to try and maintain all the length down the bottom. Just work with the razor on the bottom just to really shatter the edges, and then again on the sides, just enough so you can put some texture in through the back and sides as well. So my horseshoe's done, I'm happy with that. That's sitting both ways, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to start on the right hand side, okay? So, because we're going quite short, I'm going to start with short sections as well. I'm going to take this just short enough so I can still add texture to it. So about that length, that'll be fine. Because especially with Ciaran's hair, that very straight texture, we can really get a lot of movement in there and break it up an awful lot too. And just this section pattern alone is going to create a lovely sort of natural texture to it as well. using the last section for my guide, pulling it out. There's my guide. Got it nice and straight. Picking that up, there's my guide. Now we're working straight down, as you can see, you maintain the length around the edges. But working like this, okay? We're not actually taking anything off the bottom. If you look at this side here, there's not much coming off here to here. It's pretty much the same, it's just all the length above it. From obviously previous haircuts where you've had maybe, like you said, I think you had a 2 back and sides, I think. Yeah. Is that right, yeah? So obviously when that's blended in, the top bit is obviously left longer, so it just gets longer and longer over. Where the bottom of the neck isn't actually that long really compared to everywhere else. It just makes it look like it is because a lot of the hair on top of it. So as you can see, when I get to here, you'll see at the bottom in a minute, but by working the previous section, a lot comes off the top layer. Up there, a lot comes off there, as you can see. Then as we get lower down, not the same amount comes off. See, look at the bottom, one of my fingers there, not a lot's coming off. So in a sense, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to just balance and shape the sides. So as I get to here, look, that is literally I'm going to take off compared to what we were at the top. What that's doing is still creating a nice shape through the sides. Going to keep that length coming through here, maybe just raise at the edges just to break them up a lot and try and leave as much length at the bottom. So it will change the look around by maintaining just a certain bit of length throughout the haircut as well. And as you can see, look, not much is coming off them very bottom bits there. See? Which is what I wanted to do anyway. There we go. Perfect. And now look, we've still kept the little flicky bits. The cable legs. As you can see, trying to keep the sections the same in size. Continuity of the section will create the shape and the haircut and the primary shape that we're looking for. If you miss a section or you go too short or too long, it can change the whole outlook of the haircut as well. Just try and keep checking your guide. I've been doing this type of section now for, God, probably about 12 or 13 years. And I still always just double check the guide behind, because you know, you make that one error that one day and it just doesn't look the same. My guide. That's the kind of shape we're looking at on this side now. You see, keeping all that length through here. You see, we've made it look like a longer finish on the edges, more than looking like an overgrown haircut. See? Well, I'm trying to cross check now. Just pulling out the sections. They're all looking the same. Perfect, yeah. Just checking the guide underneath. And as you can see again, same thing as before. I'm not taking any length off. Now that's a perfect section to see. Just that little bit there as you get down to the bottom. It's a tiny little lens. So you're keeping the consistency of the section. We'll match up both sides when we put it out in a second. Just maintain that length around the ears as well. There we go. That is the same all the way around. Right, so we'll work on the razor now. So this is going to really start to shape the neck, okay? So that bit there is what I'm liking, and that's also what Ciaran's liking. So what I want to do is just take this bottom bit up here and just make sure that it sits a little bit shorter through the middle to emphasize the edges flicking out a bit more. that neck hair there like that. There you go. Work it all the way around like that. Just do it yourself like that. See? Now around the ears, put it in and just freehand trim it. Because the more we keep coming over the ears, the more we can leave at the back without it looking like the mullet effect. If you imagine if that was taken in tight, like that, it will be a mullet. It's quite a minimal thing, but all it does, gives a really nice finish. Just cut into it. There we go. Right, so working through the top now. I'm going to add all the texture in when we finish, especially on the back and sides. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a profile section through the top and follow it right the way around into the fringe. So we can cut the fringe in, along with cutting our length in through the back as well. What I'll do is I'm going to take a section from just in front of the crown. So when I say in front, I mean towards the top of the head. I'm going to take a section right down the middle of the centre, keeping the section fairly thin, not too wide. So I'm going to start through here, through this way. Now the length I'm going to pick up, because I want it to obviously be about that long at the front, I still want to leave a little bit more length towards the apex, okay? So I'm probably going to take up about that much to start with, okay? I'm just going to cut it straight. I'm going to follow this around, okay? Coming around into the front. Take your section. I'm going to follow this around. Pull this out, like so. It drops nicely into the front. There's a nice little layer in for my fringe that I can cut up and still can preserve length behind it to really chop into. And what I've also done is by creating that guide, as I pick it up to work horizontally through the top, there's my guide I'm working from, right there. There we go. And now what I'll do is I'll point cut into this. I'm going to keep following the shape of the head, same thing I was doing the profile section. So I want to cut in a fringe. And there's my guide again for the front. And that starts to layer in that fringe like so. And I'm going to connect this into the sides now. Going back to the recession. Cut it straight in. I'm just pointing into that corner. There we go. Same thing again this side now. There we go. That's our guide. Working forward, pull it straight up. Just follow the guides from the right hand side and behind. The hair is just damp as well. It's not soaking wet, just damp. Bringing it forwards now. So I'm going to layer in that fringe. Just following the guides. Pull it all the way forwards. And there's the guide that I'm working to. I'm going to connect in the sides now. Go back to the recession point. And there's a guide, and there's the guide. And we cut in nice short sections. And there we go. Right, I'm cutting to the fringe now as well to create this fringe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the length to where we want it, like so. Now I'll dry that off and that will go a bit shorter when it's dry as well. Now the last thing we need to do is just connect in this crown. Sections like almost like the inside of an orange. One section across horizontally, just point cut that in. Right, as you can see the crown's laying really nice and flat. Still got one section to do on the crown, but I'm going to leave that to the end. Now what I'm going to do is add the texture in now. Now first of all, I'm going to let this texture coming down, like so. The hair being so straight, you can really go to town on the texture of this as well. And I'll do a bit of razor over comb on the sides as well. Just working over like that to really create some texture on the sides and the back. And I'm going to slide in now and use some thickness out of there as well. I'm going to dry this off, do the rest of the texturizing when it's dry. There we go, that's all dried off. Now I'm going to finish off with the crown. Just take the section that I need to. There we go. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to break up that fringe a lot. So I'm going to work from the back. I'm going to point cut quite deep into this to really thin it out. You can see a lot of the thickness has come out there. But this is what creates that really nice sort of wispy texture. And then just a slight angle, okay? Keeping the majority of the length, but really removing that thickness. Straight down into the fringe. And that is what creates that really nice thinned out fringe. Before the crown, breaking that fringe up an awful lot there. Very ends more so than anything else. There we go. What you can do is lift it up and just cut in like that. So really thin it out as well. That creates a really thinned out sides. And just underneath, I'm just going to work across and thin it out. Just moving the scissor really fast left and right. Take that corner off there. And again, pulling it back. Now just doing the same thing, point cutting right in, nice and deep, to really break up the thickness and really bring out that texture in the top as well. Like I said at the start, you can go to town on this type of hair as well, really utilise every texturising technique in the book. You can do some deep slide cutting if you want to as well, whatever you prefer. Really break it into the fringe straight in, like that. Look at that, this is a really nice choppy fringe. Slide in like that as well. How's that look for you, mate, lengthwise?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Happy, yeah? Awesome. Now, what I love about this is that not many people wear it like this. They always want like sharp edges or whatever. This is just, I think this epitome is like the epitome of like what, like a mixture of everything that we're doing right now. We've got the fringe, we've got the kind of looser finish around the edges, the untidiness of like what the lockdown cuts were like, but then the texture of like, you know, modern day haircuts. These are my favourite style haircuts to do, because it just shows off every single thing, especially in hair like this as well. I mean, it'd be a waste if you had something like plain and just brushed over to one side, you know? There we go. I'm going to use a clay in this, okay? Just because something really dry, really matte will bring out this texture. I mean, you can already see without anything in it, it's really heavily textured as it is. All right, so what I've done is I've put maybe about a pea-size amount on the inside of my hand. And I've got some a little bit on the back as well, just in case I need to add more, okay? Because your hair will absorb product quite quickly. So, fair amount on my hands. Start at the crown, just do that, okay? Next thing I want you to do is through the back and sides, rubbing it into your hands, and then just rub it all over your hair, okay? Now that product is pretty much gone off my hands, so that's why I always put a little bit extra on, because I know what your hair's like. Work it through, and then this is the finish with now, okay? Bring the fringe up and then bring it down. And that's how it will fall nice and wispy for you, okay? Then really just accentuate the back, like put your hands under it like that and pull it out. And you see it in the front then as well, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Same around the edges, because it's a matte finish, you can be quite heavy with it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then just play around with it. Let that fringe fall, just bring bits left and right and over and down and up. And just twist these little bits around the ears just to show them off a little bit more, that everything's really left long. Like I said, not a clipper, a trimmer in sight, just a razor, a scissor and a comb to create something really cool that, you know, I do hope comes into fashion in some way. You know, I hope that this could be the sort of what the mullet could end up becoming, you know? Yeah. Like I said, if you've had a mullet and you're moving on to this, hopefully that's just the start, you know? There we go. How's that for you, mate?
Yeah, it looks really, really, really good.
Looks awesome, mate. I love it. Thanks, man. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to do it. It's cool. Sweet.